Gets away from Holmes, finds his way to the outside. McLaughlin turns him around. He sets and throws, and this ball is caught.
Let's talk about the wide receiver core. We'll get into the quarterbacks and what we saw there. So we'll get into that in a minute. But I like to start off with the wide receiver core. It does look like this wide receiver core is going to be a pretty good strength. And maybe it's because someone better passing to them or all that. But I think it's a little combination of everything. Remember last year, like I said, we lost the top 4 wide receivers early in the season, and then of course ended up losing the top 2 running backs, which threw Emmett Johnson in there, which gave him some great experience. But it kind of put the offense kind of tied their hands a little bit. On top of that, their goal of Jeff Sims being the guy and all that didn't work out. So that's why I said I had to give Harburg a break on that. But let's kind of go into that. One guy that stuck out, and I brought him up in my last video that I just did the other day, was Janarian Bonner, who played the fullback position last year, who, like I said, he's like, if I remember, 6'2", 220, 230 pounds. And he moved back to wide receiver. Well, he was a tight end, but he's moved to wide receiver, which I said is going to give him a big, thick option in the wide receiver core when you have Nair and Banks and then Bonner, all of them 6'2" to 6'3", way over 200 pounds on every one of them. And that's kind of what you need here in the Big Ten. And he really looked good today. He had some great plays. He had the first touchdown catch on the first drive there with Dylan Raiola throwing to him, and played very well throughout. Had some great catches. Some did drop one that I saw, one right in his hands, but other than that, really looked strong. Another one that looked good was Jalen Lloyd. Jalen Lloyd had a big touchdown pass from Dylan Raiola. I didn't write that down. I can't remember exactly how far it was. Probably about 40 or 45 yards if I had to guess. Keelan Smith was another one. He came on strong. He came in at the end of the game, probably around the 3rd or 4th strings that got to come in, and really shined in that final 4 minutes, couple minutes drive. He really looked good in that, which he's another one in my impact players that I kind of brought up. I think you're going to see him this year. He might end up redshirting because they got some pretty good depth in the wide receiver core. You already got Nair and Adams. Then you got Jalen Lloyd. You have now Janarian Bonner. You got Malachi Coleman, who was hurt, that's coming back. So I got a feeling Keelan Smith's going to get 4 games in. He is going to go look good. That's why in my newcomers, my newcomer impact players for 24, he was kind of an honorable mention, just because I thought with the depth of the wide receivers, he's probably going to play in 4 games, look good in 4 games. Doesn't mean he couldn't play on, but I don't know realistically why you would want to burn his red shirt unless, again, injuries happen at the top of the depth and you kind of need him like we did last year. But he really, surprisingly, he looked really, really good. And that's what I've been hearing. Ja'Cory Barney played earlier and he looked good. Demetrius Bell went down with an injury. I haven't heard any news on it. Overall, I think the wide receivers look really good.